Hey guys, this is Joshua Seth, voice of Tai on Digimon, and you're listening to Anime Secrets.
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh yes, this is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other Tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin time! Link to the Morphin. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Smokin' Silver.
I'm Patrick Allen, I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Rizwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, Toku Nation? This is the Toku Secrets Podcast presented by animesecrets.org, and today the whole crew is back again with episode number 8 of our Engine Sentai Go-Onger series. We're taking a look at GPs 37 through 41. Last time we took a look at all the way up to GP 36, so GP 31 to GP 36. And to briefly recap what happened last time, last time we got introduced to a new mech, and we also had our big climactic battle to debut the final ultimate Sentai mech combination. So in this case, Yogo-Stein, he attempted to unleash this powerful monster called Horonderthal, but he ended up unleashing a trio of ancient engines who are all based on train/prehistoric creatures. So we have engine number 9, a maroon mammoth steam train called Kishamith. Number 12, white T-Rex train car, K-Line. And T-Line, sorry. And number 12, a blue Triceratops train car hybrid called K-Line. They were at first reluctant to work with humans, but then they liked Sosuke, so they decided to join. They can combine to form Kyuretsuo. And then when Yogo-Stein unleashed the real Horonderthal, the Go-ongers fought back, and they were able to combine all their engines to form Engine OG-12 formation. And then Yogo-Stein got really angry and absorbed Horonderthal's power into himself. He supposedly killed Sosuke, and he almost defeated the Go-ongers, but then everyone rallied to fight back. They defeated him, and then Sosuke, who was able to revive himself through his own sheer passion and refusal to die, was able to defeat Yogo-Stein. So we are now at this point in Go-Onger where the ultimate mech combination has been revealed, and there's been a bit of a shakeup in the villain department. So we're kind of in a bit of a home stretch before the in-game arc, but we still have 3 more podcasts to get through. So we're going to jump right in now to GP 37, Engine Banki, which is a filler episode that doesn't revolve around any one character. You know, a lot of people most of them just get a moment to shine here. It mainly revolves around the ancient engines. They feel disgraced and depressed over how Horonderthal corrupted them so easily and how they kind of indirectly led to Sosuke being killed. So they run away from home, but then they get rallied back to fight alongside the Go-ongers. We get a new weapon in this episode called a weapon designed by Ren called the Kankan Bar. It's a sword that's based on the crossing gate that you see on the road when you're about to cross a train track, and it can perform energy slashes. It's powered by the T-line and K-line souls, and then it can combine with a Monton gun, which is when powered by the Kishamith soul to form the Kankan Monton gun, which gives it the ability to perform a finishing move similar to the Super Highway Buster and Wing Boosters. For all you RPM fans out there, this thing was called the Rail Rifle. And speaking of RPM, the monster Engine Banki in this GP was not adapted into RPM. What do we think about this one, guys?
So I don't know. I have a hard time connecting with the ancient engine souls. Like, I know I'm supposed to feel bad for them and their, how they're feeling right now, but it didn't really do it for me per se. I definitely think, I get why they blame themselves. It just didn't hit me the way I think it might have hit the rest of you. And I sound like an ass for saying that, but it is what it is.
No, I think it kind of makes sense because the ancient engines are, they can't talk, so we're not as able to get as much personality. Other than that, they're just like a typical like great grandpa, I guess you could say, like a curmudgeon type of thing. So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, and it could have been a lot more impactful had we gotten these guys, a little bit prior to all this.
Yep.
You know what? I actually didn't really like this episode that much either. Like, but I did understand like they shouldn't have blamed themselves. But I kind of get what Rizwan is saying because, like,
Yeah.
Well, I'll defend this a little bit though. Now I'll give Riz credit that it doesn't do the ancient engines justice, but I feel like everyone, mostly everyone, like, Saki, Gunpei, and Hanto, not so much, but everyone else, I think, got some moments to shine. Like, Rin designs the Concon bar, which is pretty cool. Hiroto gives a big speech to the ancient engines. Sosuke is reckless badass as usual. And I really like that celebration at the beginning where we see Mew act a little bit more carefree and energetic. Like, she's telling Hiroto, like, oh, come on, big brother, come on, lighten up or something. That's actually kind of adorable. So it's not enough to like, I'm not saying that this is like a big, huge episode, but those character moments did it for me there.
Yeah. I don't think it's bad because, given the ancients something to do, fine. Them not being able to talk, I think, kind of hurts this a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think Hiroto is the show stealer in this one because him being more not cold, because he's loosened up a lot since he got introduced. And I can't imagine Hiroto after he first appeared doing something like this. So having an episode where he was able to like open up and try to motivate someone else was a pretty good step in the right direction for him.
Yep. So I'm thinking an 8 for this episode personally.
I don't know about an 8, man. I'm thinking.
I think a 7 would be a little bit
7.
more reasonable.
7.
Yeah,
Definitely a 7.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Because again, it's a fine episode in that we're trying to give the ancients something to do, which I will say, and I know I've harped on this before, it's more than we really got from Corrugator up until this point.
Yeah.
They're at least trying to give them something to work with. I just don't think, like, okay, so brief spoilers for the remaining, season. Had they done more of this kind of stuff throughout, maybe I'd look at this a little bit differently here, but it's a one-off. They don't really ever come back and do something like this again with the ancients, I don't think.
Yeah. Yep.
So to me, it's like, okay, if you wanted to build off of this and do something with it, you had an opportunity to. It would have been better. But leaving this as an open thread with nothing really going on, yeah, this is a 7, man.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to a much better episode, at least in my opinion. GP38, The Maiden's Sanctity, a filler episode revolving around Saki and Mew, where Saki, Mew, and Bear RV, they have to work together to keep the guys and all the other engines protected because This Gaiarc scheme gone wrong results in them being frozen. So this shower-based Gaiarc was supposed to like cause acid rain to drop on the human world, but unfortunately someone messed up with the formula, so it instead is a liquid that causes males to get frozen. So everyone except Saki, Mew, and Bear RV get frozen.
Playing this Kakaresha that she messed up the recipe for the acid rain.
Yeah. Bear RV uses the Go Rotor GT as a body so that she can fight alongside those two, and they make a three-person tag team called the Go On Princess, which is pretty cool. A couple of other notable things. We were debating. I don't know if we did it in the actual podcast or if we did it while we were not recording, but there was always speculation over what Toriptor's gender was prior to this episode. Well, he gets frozen along with the other engines, so this officially confirms him to be male. So Bear RV is the only female representative of the engines here. The Shower Banki, the Banki-ju of the day for this episode, wasn't adapted into RPM, although the story elements of this episode was adapted into the episode The Dome Dolls, even though the Dome Dolls used fight footage from GP30, The Punch of Friendship. But so plot was adapted, monster wasn't. What do we think about this one, guys?
Love it.
Okay, so Nate, I'm sure you already figured this out prior to this podcast, but when I texted you saying, yo, Go-Onger is doing stuff I love, and one of the big things that I love about it is that they're doing girl power the right way.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
It's not being forced down your throat. It's not feeling unnatural. It feels very natural the way they're doing it. And it feels earned. This is never like a thing of like, let's throw a pity bone to like the one or two females that are allegedly watching it. I mean, I know there's way more than that, but the trope or the stereotype in our fandom is this is generally a male dominant.
Yep.
So, you know, they might throw a couple of bones here and there for the females to feel like there is something in it. It never feels earned. But this season, we've been getting a lot of it. I mean, Mew and Saki have been really getting a lot of good development throughout the season, and they continue to do so to the end. And this is one of my favorite ones for them. Not my absolute favorite, but this is definitely one of them.
I would call this my favorite of those batches. It works on a number of levels. I mean, it's cool that like this is them literally saving the day. Like they end up saving the day in the end, so that's obviously cool. But I also like how the situations are kind of flipped, where in previous ones it was all like, you know, Mew being like the big sister to Saki. Here it feels like Saki is being the big sister to Mew, because Mew was feeling like, oh no, Hiroto, my big brother is frozen. I'm nothing without him. I can't do anything. And she literally says, I'm nothing without Hiroto in this episode. And Saki is the one who has to try and encourage her. But even in the case of Saki, she has to brief it. It's Bear RV who has to be all like, come on, girls, get your heads in the game. We can do this and all that. So it's handled on a really great way. And I don't know, maybe it's, and I know that I'm harping on the fact that they saved the day at the end, but the reason why I do it is because when RPM adapted this episode, they completely botched it. Like, first of all, it doesn't feel earned because there's no cute big dynamic between Summer and Gemma. And two, Summer and Gemma don't even save the day at the end. Like at the end of the day, they just hold off monsters until Dr. K comes up with some like cure to wake up the male rangers, and then they show up, and Ziggy literally undermines the whole premise of the episode by saying, hey, stay away from our women and all that. And this isn't a girl empowering episode. What are you trying to pull here?
Even someone who liked RPM, I can admit, this was definitely not. Yeah, they definitely botched that episode up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the RPM episode, but I'll just go along with that. And RPM didn't do it right. I don't even know, man.
You'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see.
And yeah, I know that the guys come in and they defeat the giant monster, but the guys wouldn't have been unfrozen in the first place if those three hadn't defeated Shower Banki by themselves.
Exactly.
So,
Also, okay, so this is going to feed more into the line of Rizwan does not remember anything about RPM, but do they ever really use the Go Rotor in RPM like this, where they have the engine take the body of it and like fight alongside them? I don't think so.
no, well, in the adaptation of this, they did use the footage of Go on Red fighting with Speedor's engine soul in it. So Scott did do it with his Ord, but it was just for that one episode.
How did they do it? Like, did they say, "Oh, he has a soul," or did they just say, "Oh, hey, here's a cool power up"?
Oh, it's just Gemma just says, "Oh, hey, cool. Oh, here's the road attack Zord, and I've modified it. Now we can fight. Now we can fight small with Scott's engine cell."
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty much.
So
Yeah, it
I
didn't have
think-
the same impact because the Zords and RPM don't have personality.
yeah,
So-
and
Yeah,
that's
they had no engine. They were called engine cells instead of being called engine souls.
Yeah, and I think that's a really big point of this episode specifically, because Bear RV does have personality. We know her personality really dang well. And having it be demonstrated here when she's personified in a human-sized body and able to contribute to a battle on the human level, I think that's pretty powerful. And I just want to throw it out there. Hey, we don't really see stuff like this happen too often beyond this season, and I can say that for a lot of things with this season, honestly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, when Bear RV is just one of the girls.
I mean, she is, and
Yeah.
it's very natural the way they kind of pull it together.
Yeah, and it's one of the season's strengths where the mechs are full on characters in their own right. Like no other Sentai can get away with something like this.
Well, other Sentai could get away with it if they went for this kind of vibe, but as far as I know, there isn't another Sentai season like this.
Not where they
You
treat
know what's
their mechas
interesting
like
though?
this.
I was gonna say something. Cure Major actually does do this concept too with their mecha.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching that now even more.
Yeah, same. I mean, I might watch it over winter break when we're on break.
But this is a 10. 10.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Every episode where Saki and Mew team up, you can't help but love it. Again, the best girl power duo in Sentai.
It has to be these two. I can't think of anyone who even comes close to this.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're going to talk about this in a future podcast because we're not going to do a character analysis here, but I'm going to say it straight up. I think Mew is the best, like, female ranger that we have from all the different colors.
Oh, that's high praise.
I just think she was really well written, and I think it's warranted and deserved over here. Because a lot of times when you have the female character, the reason we like them so much is because, oh, look how kawaii, look how desu they are, but also they have a couple of good badass moments. But here, Mew doesn't have just one or two badass moments thrown in while being kawaii desu. She has a whole freaking personality based around it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why Nate and I kiss up Sudahime so much, Ninja White, because she and Mew have that same kind of thing of where they're just badasses.
Well, now I'm looking forward to watching
definitely.
Kaku Ranger even more than if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the case. So yeah, this is a 10. I'm ready to
it's a
get on to the
10.
next one.
Okay, let's move on to GP 39, Nostalgia Children, which is the first of a two-part sequel to the Go-Onger movie that we reviewed 2 podcasts ago. Engine Sentai Go-Onger, Boom Boom, Bang Bang, Gekijo Bang. Insert the Geki Ranger episode title joke here.
Insert Rizwan raising for 2 seconds.
Yeah. So here, Gunpei and Hanto, they encounter a pair of kids from the samurai world who are guarding a mysterious katana. And at the end of this episode, the Go-Ongers and Go-On-Wings learn that the katana belongs to Retsutaka. Retsutaka is one of the nomad engines. They encountered in the samurai world, and immediately after that, a meteor crashes to the human world, and Engine Shogun, still turned to stone, emerges from it. Here's a bit of a fun fact: the monster Yatai Banki, which is based on like a mask display. First of all, this monster was not adapted into Power Rangers RPM, but here's a little fun fact. Some of the masks that appear on his display, there's a mask of an Uggut's face, and we also see Akka Red's helmet. Yeah, Akka Red, the character from Go-Ongers, and he had appeared 2 years prior in the Go-Ongers versus Super Sentai movie, so people would have known who Akka Red was. But yeah, his helmet is on there, so that's pretty cool. And we have recolored versions of the monsters from the Go-Onger movie. Goku Maro and Raiken. They're Goku Maro and Raiken. They're voiced by the same people who voiced them in the movie. So Raiken is voiced by now it's Naoya Uchida. He was Dingy Green and Dingy Sentai Dingy Man and several monsters. And Goku Maro is voiced by Masaya Matsukaze. He was Shun or a Mega Blue and Mega Ranger. He was one of the former Shinken Reds and Shinkenger, Indolf and Kyoryuger. And he voiced Zane in the Japanese dub of Power Rangers in Space. Yeah, but that sums up all the information for this one. What do we think of GP39?
I don't know. I feel like the beef of this two-parter is in the second part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be just Rizwan being Rizwan again, but the entire subplot with the two kids from Samurai World,
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that.
No, I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
me neither.
I was honestly kind of thinking to myself, okay, I'm kind of bored. Can we get to something interesting here?
Honestly,
please?
Dude,
I think one of the
thought I was the only one who felt that way.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I felt really bored watching this.
I think one of the mistakes that this episode made was in the movie specifically, Sasuke was the one that was closest to the three samurai engines. So let's make Hanto and Gunpei the focus characters of this.
I was like, what?
Yeah. I don't understand that.
I feel like they tried too hard to make Hanto and Gunpei like the central focus of things where they don't need to be.
Yeah, this should have been a Sasuke focusing because
Yeah.
he was the show stealer in the movie. He was the one that had ties to the main movie characters. So let's just backseat him for this. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, and that could have been good opportunity for more really good Sasuke development, which, granted, he doesn't really lack, but you'll never turn away from having more of it, you know?
Yeah, but it also doesn't make sense because in the second part, which we're about to talk to, Sasuke does take over the primary role again.
Right,
so
because
there was no purpose in Hanto and Gunpei getting the spotlight in this episode.
honestly, and this feeds back. I hate doing this, man. I really hate doing it, and you know where I'm going with it. But they don't know how to write Gunpei, so they poke him into random spots without really thinking about it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
this is another example of it. And I really wish that the writers had figured out how to write Gunpei,
Yeah.
because they never really do.
Especially toward, well, we'll get to that when we get to it.
We'll get to that in
saying.
a future podcast.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Anthony. I got some
It's
thoughts.
it's just crazy how, and I find this funny because this is the second time it's happened because this kind of happened with Time Ranger, where the worst character in the Sentai ends up being their counterpart is the best one in the Power Ranger season because Dylan is
Yes.
Dylan is like the most key character of RPM.
He's the first guy we see in the show.
I mean, he is the main character of RPM, and they don't even try to hide it either. So
Yeah.
What do we want to give a 39 out of 10, guys?
6.
Yeah.
6 is
I'm
fine.
gonna be nice to give it a 6.
Yeah.
You could be nice and give it a 6. I thought I was being okay when I said 6.
Okay, now let's jump into the beef of this two-parter Shogun revival GP40, where Engine Sentai Shogun is sent to rampage through the human world, and Sosuke has to rally someone to help them. So they discover a man. He's not Retsutaka, but he resembles Retsutaka. And Rairaiken and Goku Maro have him steal the katana from the kids, and he uses it to revive Engine Dai Shogun and send it to Rampage. Engine Dai Shogun defeats all the mechs, and while the Go-ongers are trying to fight the two monsters, and then Sosuke confronts the Retsutaka guy. Retsutaka is like this guy who's like down on his luck. A lot of bad things have happened to him, but then Sosuke convinces him to renounce what he's done. He steals the katana back and depowers Engine Dai Shogun. And then the two monsters enlarge. The main Go-ongers use their Speed Orb, Busan, and Bear RV souls to in the Engine Dai Shogun cast. They defeat the monster. The kids are sent back to the samurai world in the ancient engines with the Engine Dai Shogun casts. Needless to say, this was not adapted into RPM. And once again, like his movie counterpart Retsutaka, this guy resembling Retsutaka is played by Kento Honda. He was previously Takumi Inui / Kamen Rider Fies from Kamen Rider 555. And yeah, that's it for the information on this one. What do we think about this one?
Man, it was so nice when Sasuke punched that guy in the face.
Yeah.
This guy was a douchebag.
Dude.
Until
who are you telling?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, like, good grief.
Oh, the world screwed me over, so I'm gonna screw the world over. Woe is me.
Yeah, no, there's like I don't have a job, so I'm gonna destroy Tokyo. Jeez.
Literally.
Good grief, man. Calm down.
I lost my job, so now I have to screw over the. I've seen better motivations from villains from different shows and movies.
Yeah, what a petty douchebag.
The word you're looking for is punk.
Yeah, exactly. But Sasuke literally knocked some sense into him, and then he like, okay, I made a whoopsie doodles. I'm gonna fix this.
But yeah, that being like petty motivation kind of makes me think like I don't know, like the fact that this is like kind of a two-parter, but like the fact that the previous one revolved around Gunpei and Hanto, and then here's Sosuke taking over the focus. I mean, I'm not saying this is bad, but I've seen better episodes of Sentai that is a sequel to the movie / just an excuse to like show the movie mech in like one episode.
Yeah, and
Nate, I'll help you out here, Nate. What you're trying to say is I've seen better episodes in this season.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, like I know that none of you have seen the Shinkenger movie like I did, but the reintroduction of Hyper Shinken Red's reintroduction in the season proper was a better sequel episode than this.
Wait,
because
Patrick, I've seen the Shinkenger movie too.
Oh, you've seen it? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure if you have or not, but yeah, like it wasn't like a proper like sequel episode per se. They just brought it back as like it's just a part of the arsenal, but they didn't really use it much because I don't know why they didn't use the hyper mode much, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. This just seemed like a cheap excuse to reuse the mech costume again one last time.
And I was kind of worried because I remember this episode, but I was worried that they were going to be like, "Oh, well, we can come back. It just took using this sword to bring us back to life." No, the engine souls of these three are actually gone, but it's like their body it's like their shell is just there still.
I get why they can't. I get why they can't just have engine. So in other Sentais where they have the movie mech just pop up, I remember specifically in Go-Onger and in Go Busters, they just randomly use the movie mechs. Like but it's okay in that context because there was nothing like special or otherworldly about the mechs. Because in Go-Onger, I mean, the Go-Onger movie mech isn't really that great. It's just them combining all of their auxiliary mechs to form a new giant robot, and they just decide, okay, let's use this formation now since we're kind of outnumbered. They use that in a two-parter. And then there was one episode of Go Busters where there's like this big mech battle, and they just decide to randomly use the frog mech once. I get why you can't just have Engine Dai Shogun pop up randomly, but I don't know. Like,
now that you say it, Nate, would this episode, and I'm asking you guys, would this episode have been better if they actually properly revived the three engines, and then for the rest of the season they became part of the arsenal?
I wouldn't mind that.
Would that have made this better?
No, because then we'd have to have a C-15. And
I mean,
honestly,
there's no saying that they would have been a part of the formation meeting, but just having them around.
Well, it would have been nice to have them around long term if they had maintained their souls and.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If this revived their engine souls and they
absolutely, this would have been great.
Yeah, then you would have just kept them around into some capacity through the rest of the season.
Or you know what you could have done? Hot take. I don't really care, but let the ancient souls inhabit these bodies, because I like these bodies a lot better, and let them actually be able to talk using this body.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily have to do a G15 formation, but maybe the most you could do is just have the Engine Dai Shogun take the place of Engine O G12, Engine O in the G12 formation, because they do that. They do something similar in Go Busters because that lion motorcycle mech, Lio, I can't remember what it was called in Beast Morphers. It's not part of the final mech, but there are some formations where it'll take the place of the Red Ranger's sports car like mech, so you could probably get away with doing that.
Or just have Engine Dai Shogun fight a long G12.
I mean, it could have, but I like the symmetry we had where every mech in this season minus the Go Rotor was part of a final Ultra Zord type thing, and having another mech formation that was not a part of it would have ruined that symmetry to me.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
so from a symmetry point of view, I would not have wanted him to have a normal appearance without being a C-15.
Because I mean, like, even the Kyoryu origami was wielded by Samurai Hao a few times.
Yeah, one episode when they were fighting Akamaru.
Yeah.
But if I'm to kind of go back to what I was saying, like, I get why you can't just have Engine Dai Shogun, pop up like so casually, but at the same time, there was a two-parter in a Maji Ranger, because Maji Ranger's movie mech was very similar to this one, where it's a mech from like another world that they can't just easily summon. There's a two-parter in Maji Ranger where they're able to bring it back, and they actually adapted that two-parter into Mystic Force, now that I remember, and that was actually handled a little bit better. I don't know. Like, I think if you wanted to have the better plot, you could scrap that whole plot of you could scrap the whole plot with the kids, so that you waste an entire episode revolving around Hanto and Gunpei, and have the whole episode revolve around either this guy who resembles Retsutaka and his relationship with Sosuke, or make him Retsutaka in like a reincarnated form or something. I don't know. There's a ton of different directions you could have taken this episode, and I just don't think they took it well.
It feels like they were obligated to do a movie tie-in two-parter of some kind, and they just didn't know what to do with it here.
Yeah.
It just seems like the writers focused on certain things a lot more, and that became the better parts to go on there.
Yeah.
But then other parts are like, oh wait, we have to write other characters like Gunpei, or tie in a movie or something.
Yeah.
And they kind of fumbled last second trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, this is still better than the first part of this two-parter, but...
I mean, yes, but is it much better? Because I don't think I would give it more than a 7.
No, it's a 7, but that's still better than a 6.
Well,
Yeah.
numerically, you're correct, but
yeah, so
review-wise,
my statement stands.
It doesn't feel that much better if you're looking at it as a whole, though.
Well, I mean, I do think having Sasuke as the center point of this helps it immensely, though.
Yeah, it just feels like it's a little too late type, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the entirety of the two-parter was focused around Sasuke and this Retsutaka counterpart guy, we'd be having a different conversation right now.
Absolutely, because... Okay, so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Retsutaka's counterpart in this came in this episode, right? Not in the first part.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah. He should have been introduced, at least introduced that guy in the first part. Because it felt like these were two separate episodes that were kind of tied together.
Couldn't you have literally had Gunpei and Hanto run into this guy and be like, huh, he looks familiar. I wonder why. And let them go off and do their buddy cop routine for a little bit.
Yeah, like something.
Like, it would have been better than what we got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree it's a 7 and not much else you can say about it.
Yeah, it's a 7 for me too.
Okay, well let's finish this batch on a high note, or at least a high note for me. I personally really liked this episode. Spoiler for the review section, but we have GP41, Advanced Childcare. This is a Hiroto-centric filler episode. Plot is pretty simple. There's this baby monster who hatched from an egg from the Stormy world. The baby monster develops an attachment to Hiroto, and Hiroto has to take care of it, and the Guy arc want it because it has potential immense power. And this episode, needless to say, was not adapted into RPM. And yeah, that's about it. No, nothing special. Well, it's a great episode, but nothing special in terms of plot developments. What do we think about this one?
I don't know. This one was weird to me.
I have a mixed bag here of I understand Nathan, but I also understand Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of you two. Like, on one hand, I thought Hiroto had some fun moments in here, but on the other hand, this is so freaking weird.
It was
But
weird.
but I get that it's weird. I get what you guys are saying, but here's the thing.
It's Go-Onger.
It's Go-Onger.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's weird even for Go-Onger standards. That's the part I'm trying to say.
So I have a point I want to make, but you're gonna have to remind me to make that point in 2 podcasts from here.
Okay.
I can't make the point over here and make it make sense.
Outside of saying this episode's weird, I don't have anything else to say.
I mean, I think this is an 8.
Okay. I think Hiroto, I don't know. I really like it just because the relationship between Hiroto and this monster is weirdly adorable. There's that scene where this always makes me. This is something that I always remembered when I first watched Go-Onger. This whole thing where Mew thinks that like Hiroto is up to something, and she stomps up to the Gunjiro and literally makes the ground shake. And then you have like Hiroto making his funny faces. Like, okay, yes, this is a weirder, lighthearted thing. It's Go-Onger. I'm not about to say that this is like, and this is as great as if we're comparing this to episodes where a Sentai Ranger befriends a monster who's not so evil. I'm not going to say that this is as good as that one where Joe befriended that monster in a Boom Boomsher. That was a great episode, but
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
But this is how Go-Onger handles it, and I just think it's perfectly in tune with Go-Onger. I can't help but just love this episode.
They also did this in Mega Ranger and / in space.
Oh yeah, I actually don't remember how Mega Ranger handled that episode.
I like the way In Space handled it.
Oh yeah,
In Space's version was great. I just don't remember the Mega Ranger episode off the top of my head. I I don't think it was as good as the in space version.
Yeah,
but
I'll message you, Nate, about not Nate, but Patrick about that.
Yeah, because but going back to the point you were saying, Nate, about Hiroto being here, I think that's kind of why I don't like this episode as much. If this was someone else, I mean any of the other members of this team, it would have worked better for me. But it just felt a little bit out of character for Hiroto to be doing this. I don't know if that's just me, but
I mean, I think it's more of a sign of just how far he's come from being like this arrogant, uncaring guy. Like it's just now. I'll grant you this: it probably would have worked a little bit better if like they start off with him like rejecting the monster and then like slowly getting toward it. So I'll grant you that. Maybe it could have worked, but I don't know. Just seeing this caring side of Hiroto was still great. But at the same time, yeah, the more I think about it, it's kind of like that episode of Jetman where a guy is trying to help that little girl where at first he doesn't like the little girl and he wants nothing to do with her, but then he kind of gets guilted into helping her. And then eventually he realizes, you know what, you're not half bad. You know, you're pretty cool. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying at that point, the more I think about it.
I will ask the question, though, because I just thought about this a second ago. So I understand, this is a good episode for Hiroto, and it gave him some more, I don't want to say humanity points, but relatability points, I guess the word I'm trying to look for here. But I have conflicting thoughts on how would this episode have played out had we taken Hiroto out of it and put Gunpei into it. On one hand, I think this would have been terrible for Gunpei. On the other hand, I think this could have worked for him on that weird way.
I think them having Gunpei kind of be the butt of the joke would have worked better.
Yeah, like at this point, Gunpei is the butt of the joke every time we're going to have a joke. Yeah. And so having him be that over here, I think it could have worked out better, but it have worked out better for what they've written him to be. But I still would not have liked it because I don't want Gunpei to be that.
But the reason why I was having Hiroto in this situation so much crap is I was imagining Sasuke in this episode, and it would have been comedy gold.
How many times have we had that happen, Patrick, where there's an episode where we think Sasuke should have been the one that was involved or done something, and it's not him and it's somebody else? Yeah. I mean, like the third time, I think, or maybe fourth.
I mean, there's a reason why we like Sasuke so much, because he is just a living embodiment of what this season's all about. So you can plug him into any situation and it works.
It's just his versatile character writing, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna have a long talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah, we will. We absolutely will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to give it a 9. I get your guys' problems with it, but I mean, Hiroto's my favorite character in this Sentai, so
no, I didn't hate this episode. I thought it was very entertaining.
But
I'm gonna give it an 8 for me.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 for it as well. I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying it's not as good as some other episodes we've gotten.
Yeah, I'm honestly gonna give it a 7.
I figured you would.
Yeah, that's
it's just I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm kind of excited now when we get to Mega Ranger, because I'm with you, Patrick. I don't remember how they handled the adaptation of that episode. I think it was called Andros and the Stowaway in Power Rangers in Space. Yeah, the only thing I remember is that in Power Rangers in Space, it comes immediately after the Psycho Ranger saga, but in Mega Ranger, it's a pre-Mega Silver episode. I'm curious to revisit that episode now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of its batch. Do we have anything else we want to add just for discussion before we wrap up here, guys?
No. This is like the last little calmness before we get serious. Because there is some stuff in the next batch, but I don't know. We're almost there.
Yep. All right. Well, we're done with this batch. Pretty short but calm podcast here. But don't expect that to be it for the rest of Go-Onger, because we got 2 more podcasts where we're going to be tackling a lot bigger stuff. Not so much of a next one, but after that, when we reach the end game, that's where it's going to get a lot of fun. We hope you guys will join us for the remaining episodes that we do for Go-Onger. We hope you guys enjoy Go-Onger as much as we do. And of course, we're going to be getting back to Boom Boomger at some point, and we got a lot of other Sentai's planned for you well into the new year of 2025. And we hope you guys will catch us then as well. We'll see you guys next time when we return to Go-Onger. But until then, bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other Tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of Tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.